Let's turn to Belarus now, because we are getting reports that the main opposition candidate in Sunday's election night might be missing. Her staff has told Euroradio that they've lost contact with her and that her whereabouts are currently unknown. Now, Svetlana Tikhanovskaya earlier said that she is refusing to accept the results and adds that she considers herself the winner of the polls. Here she was earlier.
The authorities should think about how to peacefully hand over power to us. So far, they've only responded with violence against peaceful citizens.
So yes, just that they restate that we're getting reports that her whereabouts is unknown at the moment. Now, those results were announced earlier on Monday, giving the incumbent Alexander Lukashenko 80% of the vote and a sixth term as president. This is Mr. Lukashenko casting his vote on Sunday, and he has ruled Belarus since 1994. He's been dubbed Europe's last dictator. None of the elections that he has won previously were found to be free and fair by Western observers. And similar concerns are also being expressed by Belarus's neighbours today.
Well, reaction, not just demonstrations, but also what happened later last night and also in the run-up to the elections was not a democratic process, and we cannot consider these elections as free, democratic, transparent.
The last presidential so-called election, which took place in 2015, was by international community clearly declared undemocratic and not fair. And we have a solid basis of observations already now, and looking also the context where the political opponents were arrested, violence has been used, to say also that I would not say that these elections were democratic and free.
Well, our Europe correspondent Jean McKenzie has been in Belarus in the lead up to these elections.
Nobody was in any doubt that there were going to be these sorts of numbers declared victory for Lukashenko yesterday, but it doesn't mean that the people of Belarus were ever going to accept it. Certainly, we've seen in recent weeks the momentum building behind the opposition candidate, which is quite unprecedented. We didn't see this kind of opposition in the previous election. So yes, the result was never going to... People felt the result was never going to be any different, the official result, but they are in a different place now, and they are certainly not in a place where they are willing to accept this result. We saw for weeks the crowds building and building behind the opposition. So the extent of the Lukashenko victory at 80%, I think, has shocked some people.
Well, demonstrators indeed took to the streets in cities across Belarus almost as soon as polling booths closed on Sunday. And, well, this is the capital, Minsk. Police are using stun grenades, rubber bullets and also water cannons against the protesters. Official sources said that 50 protesters were injured. Here's what some of them had to say.
There were lots of people with guns. They started shooting at our arms and legs.
At first, people were peaceful. They formed a big human chain. Then the police started grabbing them, and there were clashes. About 90 minutes later came the rubber bullets and stun grenades.
Well, the internet monitoring group NetBlocks also reported an increased disruption to internet connectivity after the polls closed. Opposition supporters say that this makes it difficult for any evidence of election fraud to be shared. But opposition to Mr. Lukashenko's rule has been rising in recent months, and it's been coalescing around Svetlana Tikhanovskaya. She is an English teacher, and in fact she was a stay-at-home mum who was thrust into the spotlight after her husband, the blogger Sergei Tikhanovsky, who you can see speaking at a rally here, was arrested and blocked from registering as a candidate. Now, it's not yet clear what might happen next, but the European Union has called for de-escalation while Russia has called for closer integration. But it does seem like the protests are not going away. Nigel Gould-Davies is a former British ambassador to Belarus, and he told the Guardian that there is a genie out of the bottle and it will not go back. So let's get an update from the BBC's Yuri Vendik, who joins us live now. So Yuri, I know that these are just some reports coming in, but what do we know about this this lack of contact with Svetlana?
Exactly. The information we have at the moment is quite confusing. Let me just remind that Svetlana Tikhanovskaya went into the building of the Central Electoral Commission to file the official complaint of the results of the election. And she's never been contacted by journalists ever since. But her entourage gives quite confusing information, I must say, because her lawyer, Maxim Znak, has said that she's okay. She went out of the building on her own, and she will soon comment on her whereabouts and the further actions. But we, the Russian service, the BBC Russian service, and other journalists have been trying to reach her via the phone for all these 6 or so hours, and all in vain. At the same time, her press secretary, Anna Krasulina, said that Svetlana Tikhanovskaya went out of the building, said very enigmatic words, and I quote, "I've made the decision," and then went somewhere, and where exactly Anna Krasulina doesn't know. So it's everybody guess what's going on, because, well, it's not unheard of the opponents of Alexander Lukashenko to disappear or to be imprisoned, or maybe Svetlana Tikhanovskaya was intimidated into going into hiding, or maybe something like that. It's everybody's guess, and we're just waiting for more exact information.